Okay, so this is actually the fourth time I am re-recording this intro because so much news keeps coming in and changing what I'm about to say, because I wanted to edit in and say that Conquest is confirmed for Battlefront 2, but this was based off a response on the forum where Dennis literally said yes when someone asked, are we getting Conquest? He said a straight out yes, as you can see right here, but then he edited that to say we're looking into it, and then he edited the comment a third time and said we're obviously hearing the requests about a more open, free-flowing large mode like Conquest. Not sure if porting a mode over is the right way to go, but we're definitely working on satisfying that request. So that is a very strange development. And a little bit higher up in the thread, he also responded with just a simple why not when someone asked about the Conquest mode. And then after that we had even further development because I was just about to put out the video and he posted on Reddit in response to a Conquest confirmed thread saying I should clarify this a bit. I got a bit tired, so I simplified the response a bit too much. We're obviously hearing the request for a more free-flowing open sandbox large game mode, and we are prototyping something of that nature for a future release. Hopefully. I'm not sure if porting over a rule set completely is the way to go yet. There were reasons why we decided not to do that previously, but as soon as I know for sure I will let you know. So that is indeed a very strange development. It went from a pretty much straight up confirmed to now this. So if I'm gonna be honest, I honestly just think EA went and said you can't confirm Conquest just like that, you gotta edit the comment right away. But it's the internet, everyone screenshotted it right away, and this is what happened. But I wanted to make sure to put this in the intro and clarify exactly what has happened so you don't think it's fully confirmed. And another reason could also be the fact that it might be very similar to Conquest, but that there might be some changes to fit in this particular game and they might name it something else, and that's why they can't confirm that it's called Conquest. A little bit like people said it was going to be called Instant Action for the last game, but it was actually called Skirmish instead. So that could be the same thing where it's going to be something very similar to Conquest, but it's not actually going to be called that. But to be honest, I see this as almost a confirmation that Conquest or something very similar is going to come to the game eventually. But now let's get into the other stuff. First of all, Sledgehammer70 posted on the forum saying that a fix for the milestone/achievement bug where you couldn't claim the rewards and when you couldn't track them properly should actually be rolling out tonight. So if you've had any issues with milestones, jump onto the game tonight and see if it has been fixed. They also compensate us with a bonus crate that will contain 4,000 credits as well as some Starfighter rewards, which I don't know what it will be, but I am very low on Starfighter cards, so I appreciate that. But now over to Dennis' tweets. First off, he responded in regards to this patch, saying that no, this is a server patch. The next client patch is currently going through QA and cert. So it basically means that content and balancing wise, it is done, the patch is done, but now they just need to look for bugs, it needs to be verified, certified and all that kind of stuff, and then we will eventually see it, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's next Tuesday. When he was asked if multiple eras for the same maps would be possible, such as an Imperial invasion on Naboo, he said definitely possible, and this actually brought back memories to when you played on Naboo during the campaign in Battlefront 2, the original, as the Empire, and I think that would be really cool to see. And I mean, we even get to see that slightly in the Battlefront 2 campaign now, when Iden, Leia and so on defended from the Imperial attack. When he was asked about a white cape for Grievous, he said that it's a good idea if we ever were to make that old cyborg. So again, they haven't confirmed General Grievous, and it doesn't seem like Dennis wants to hint anymore towards him. But I am still hopeful that he will be the Season 2 villain, because we have seen his model in the files. In terms of offline content, he responded saying yes, there will be more offline content coming. Nothing new, but always good to get it confirmed. And someone also asked, are there impending Battlefront 2 news? To which they said yes, and I don't think he's referring to his own tweets here, although that's still a lot of news, but I'm hoping that means we will get a Season 2 announcement or something else very soon. He responded to a question regarding a Horde or Wave mode and Shadow Troopers, and he said would love to bring back the Horde/Wave mode. Unlikely we will see the Shadow Trooper return though. There's a new Black Stormtrooper in town, and I think this makes a lot of sense because when they released the Shadow Trooper for the previous game, Rogue One wasn't out yet, and I think it makes a lot of sense that we wouldn't have Shadow Troopers and Death Troopers in the game at the same time. He also confirmed that jetpack cargo is coming with the next patch, so we will probably not have to wait very long for that mode, possibly even next week. And here's actually some big news, because when he was asked about more female representation in the game, he said yes, there will absolutely be more female heroes and troopers in Battlefront. So to some degree he does confirm that we will get female heroes at some point, and there's a lot of good contenders there, such as Ahsoka, Padme, Ventress, Jin, or maybe someone from the Han Solo movie, who knows. But I would be very surprised if we don't get any of the heroes that I just mentioned, because those are kind of the main female heroes that we don't yet have in the game. And this is also something very interesting, because someone asked, hey, would love to see some new reinforcements like ARC Troopers and Commando Droids. And Dennis actually responds with, and droidekas, don't forget the destroyers. So again, no confirmation, but the fact that he brings up destroyers when someone didn't even ask for them shows that I think they really want to put them in the game, and hopefully it is something we will get fairly soon. Someone asked if you will lose out on credits when the new progression system arrives, and he said no, you will not lose anything. So that is very good to hear. So I'm assuming we will keep all our upgrades, crafting parts, credits, and that they will simply be used in a different way. And in response to getting bonus credits or crafting parts for the winning team, he said not a bad idea. And this is something I've suggested from the beginning, and I think it will be such a good incentive to actually try and win the games, because as of right now, I honestly don't care if I win or lose, because there's no stats, there's no bonus, and so on. He also confirms that we're getting more arcade maps in the next patch. So on top of all the balancing we're getting in the next patch, we are also getting new arcade maps and the jump pack cargo mode. Someone asked, can you say anything about adding more lightsaber/force users to the game in the future? And he responded, we'd be foolish not to. Which I agree with, and I think it is very likely that we will get, you know, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Grievous, and all those iconic heroes in the next couple of seasons. And he also confirmed that the next hero is not 9-up. He was also asked if there will be lightsaber retraction/ignition like in the previous game, but he said coming but not a priority right now, which I think is good that it's coming eventually, but it's definitely not something that should be highly prioritized with all the other issues in the game right now. And when he was asked about the priorities in general, he said career and progression. We also have a bunch of game modes in the works and arcade. And when he was asked, hey, can you tell us if we already passed the longest part of waiting for announcement for season 2? He said yes, it's later than expected and plans had to change following the reception at launch. We've had to recover and do some soul searching. So I think this is probably a big reason to why it feels like we're getting content slow. I mean, we're still getting it faster than the previous game so far, but the fact that they probably have to reallocate a lot of developers to completely remake the progression system probably made the future content slower, which I think is fine. I mean, the core of the game is the most important part of the progression system. So that first, then content. Good to get some more clarification on that. And in terms of how often they're going to release patches, they mentioned earlier that there were going to be patches every 2 weeks, which to some degree is actually right, because it says here we're doing client patches every 4 weeks currently and hoping to improve on that. Server patches are more frequent than that. And so far the server patches have been about 2 weeks in between, whereas the client patches have been about 4 weeks. And that also strengthens my theory that the next patch is going to be next Tuesday, because that is going to be roughly 4 weeks from the previous patch. So get ready for some more content and a lot of balancing next Tuesday. And someone said, as much as I love your Twitter news explosions, I think some more official statements from DICE or whoever would help a little bit more. In specific, I was thinking of something like Destiny's This Week at Bungie. And Dennis responded with agreed. And I honestly think that he's probably also a little bit annoyed with how the higher-ups are kind of keeping a lid on all the information, and I'm sure that he wants to communicate more, which is why he's tweeting so much right now. But I do agree that a lot of these things should probably come from an official source before it comes out from a developer. Even though I understand that small fixes and stuff are easier for developers to respond regards, but EA has been far from flawless with their communication so far. And lastly, he responded regarding private matches, saying, I definitely want to see this added again, but it might take a while. And I'm a little bit saddened by this. That's probably the saddest news for me so far, because I really hoped it would be something we will get soon, like in the previous game. I think private matches are so important for the game and the longevity of the game, so you can create your own things, especially now that we have the mods. And this makes me think that we will probably have to wait quite a few months before we get something like private matches, which is a bit of a shame. And just as I was about to wrap up the video, more news comes in, because apparently Dennis has also been out on the Q&A on the forums responding to some questions. So I'm gonna go through all the answers he has posted so far, and if there's even more, I'm gonna put that in a separate video. And it's actually a quite big one here that I should probably put at the beginning of the video, but whatever, you guys watch my full videos, right? So he asked, supposedly there are planned DLC for seasons. After the planned DLC, the community is supposed to be instrumental in deciding which content we hopefully receive in DLC afterwards. Will we be signaled when the DICE planned DLC has adjourned and the community requests become more instrumental in DLC seasons? Are our current requests dictating which planned seasons are coming sooner? And he responded saying it's a little bit more dynamic than that. There are a few seasons that are more or less locked, mainly related to when something big happens in the movie world of Star Wars. So that pretty much confirms a Han Solo season. I don't think anyone is surprised, but that to me basically means that we are getting a Han Solo season. Continuing, outside of that, it's pretty much up to the community to request things. Some planets and characters will take a lot longer than others, meaning it might feel that why did they add this simple thing first instead of adding the big thing that I wanted more? But the intent is to satisfy everyone given time. For example, obviously the big thing coming out of the launch was that the career and progression system wasn't good enough, and we agreed. So that's the first thing we started working on. And this makes me very happy about the way they work progressing forward. And I think this is what a lot of us hoped for simply. And also something a lot of people in the community needs to learn, how long it takes to develop something. Creating a brand new hero, animating someone like General Grievous probably takes a lot longer than some of the smaller stuff that we have gotten, like Aiden's TIE Fighter, like I'm talking 100 times longer. So as long as they have this little trickle of content all the time, I'm gonna be very happy, because I feel like it's better if they release some small stuff all the time in between the big seasons than just having these big drops and then nothing for 3 months. And I think a lot of you agree with me that you can get hyped up for small things, a new game mode, a new version of a map, a new rotation, things like that. So if they can give us those simple things that doesn't take a lot of development while we wait for the big things, I think that is very good. And he also responded regarding arcade. Can we expect all 12 locations plus future DLC for arcade? And he said, yes, we're working to add all multiplayer planets to arcade for the next patch, and the intent is whenever a new planet is added to the game, you will be able to play it in all core modes, including arcade. Very good news, and that means that we're probably gonna get a lot of new arcade maps in the next patch. In regards to the supercharged sentry being a little bit too overnerfed, Dennis said we agreed that we probably overnerfed it. Next patch will include another balance pass on the supercharged sentry. Very good to hear. It will probably be back to an actual reasonable level now. He responded to a lot of questions from Anno. First one being about the map selector, where he said we're looking at adding an era select screen starting with Galactic Assault as a test in the near future. Very good to hear. In terms of a spectator mode, like in the previous game, it might be coming at some point, but it's not a priority at the moment. And he confirms here that there will be a non-holographic mod, like you might have seen in the mod I showcased on my channel before, so I'm very glad they picked up on that and decided to make that official. It's gonna be particularly good when we actually get customization in the game. In terms of how much content we will get in the seasons, he says we are aware, yes, seasons will vary quite drastically in content. Some with large content drops with planets and heroes, while others might be more focused on overhauls and new game modes. And he also confirms here that we will get maps from Battlefront 2015 in the upcoming patches. I did not expect us to get them that soon, because although that saves them a lot of work and gives us extra content, they still have to modify those maps to work in the current game modes. So that is very good news. And they are looking into a field of view slider for consoles as well. And then a couple of responses regarding bug fixing and a potential prestige system, where his response to saying it's an interesting idea, but we certainly want to encourage players to not only max out their favorite characters but also collect more than one character. So that sounds like a pretty good plan. And now I'm gonna continue with a lot more questions, because every time I finish one of these questions and refresh the page, there's a new response. So he responds saying more flying maps are coming. I don't think they all need to be in space, which is pretty cool to hear. We have a lot of space maps now, so I don't mind if we might get some more on the ground or like on Camino. I hope we just don't get any that are completely flat like in the previous game. At least have some structures and things to fly around, because that is a lot of fun. It says there's no more campaign plans in the near future, and they're mainly focusing on delivering more arcade and other new exciting ways to play PvE. So that sounds interesting, other new exciting ways to play PvE. Maybe a horde mode like I mentioned earlier in the video, that would be pretty cool. But he also says, that being said, we love Aiden and who knows what the future might bring. And he confirms that they are working on fixing the emotes right now. And in regards to the future of offline content, he says that there will not be a direct port of a Galactic Assault, and the main reason is that they don't want to hinder their multiplayer designs by constraining us to what the AI can do well. For example, having the AI find ion disruptors and locate good vantage points for shooting at the MTT will likely prove difficult. However, if the core of what you're after is to fight larger scale battles in PvE with both troopers and vehicles, we're working on something quite like that, which I think is very good to hear, because I feel like that's my main complaint with the arcade right now, that I can't use vehicles, I can't fight large scale battles. It doesn't have to be Galactic Assault, I can play multiplayer for that, but just something larger. And that seems like it's something we will get eventually. But that is gonna bring this video to an end, because I don't wanna stay up to 3 AM editing this video. However, if there is anything more, I will cover that first thing in the morning. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the force be with you.